Welcome to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. Your home for all things Bolton Wanderers, up the Trotters, the Northwest's #1 podcast.
Oh, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you listen to this, to another episode of the Fanzone podcast. It is, of course, the preview show, episode 107, where we are previewing our short trip across to Bradford City on Saturday. One that felt like it maybe would be a huge game a few weeks ago, but now is kind of maybe petering out to be a bit of a pre-playoff warm-up. But yes, we're still excited for it. Joining me tonight again is Liam. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, good, Ben. I've made it back, made it onto an episode 2, so I didn't upset enough people last time, but yeah, thanks for having me, Ben.
Yeah, it's all right. You can slag a few more fans off tonight that'll leave early. But yeah, great to have you back on, mate. And we have Johnny from the Chickens on the Loo podcast for tonight, just for any audio listeners. We've got a little overlay we do, and Johnny has nicely rebranded this time. And there's got some rebranding behind him, which does say Chicken on the Loose podcast. But when I put the overlay on, it knocks off the S and E. So for tonight only, is Chicken on the Loop podcast. How you doing, mate?
I'm all right, mate.
And that's all we're getting from Johnny. He's a bit sad that I've ruined his podcast name. But yes, of course, tonight we are sponsored by B2B Workwear and Janitorial. Links in the description on our website for all your B2B, for all your B2B needs, all your workwear, PPE needs, all that good stuff. And good evening to all the usuals wandering 1963 in at 7:30, nice and early. Josh, Jordan, Ian, Rob, Leslie, and everyone else that's watching along. And I believe we are also streaming on your channel as well, Johnny. So welcome into any Bradford fans watching along. I think it's a new feature on StreamYard or whatever, or one we've been ignoring for too long. But yes, looking forward to this one. Let's get straight into it. So yes, Bolton are heading to Bradford City on Saturday. It is 3rd v 4th. Liam, do you want to give us just a very quick rundown of Bolton's seasons so far? Obviously, the majority of Wanderers fans watching, but we have got a few Bradford fans in the chat. So yeah, give us a quick rundown of where we are right now.
Bolton's season so far, in my opinion, depends on how much of the game you watch. If you were only watching the first 88 minutes of Bolton games, you would say they're pretty sort of slow in possession, moving things along, but they sort of come to life in the last 5 minutes when there's a little bit of urgency regarding the results. I think it's been a season of what-ifs for Bolton. I think they're a team that's grown into their new shape as the season's gone on, and a lot of our success has been pinned down to key players' availability, particularly Mario Cozy-Adubara. Whilst we've had a few frustrating draws over the last 3 months, the last 3 months have been very successful for Bolton, and they go into the playoffs, in my opinion, as better placed as anyone to potentially come out of them as going up this season. So I think whilst Bolton's objective undoubtedly at the beginning of the season was to get promoted, I think being the third or best team in the league, considering where they were last season, has been a relatively good season. And I think one of the worst things that Bolton fans can do is hold on to those painful memories of the last 3 or 4 seasons, because ultimately they don't matter now. That's irrelevant to what happens now. You know, this Bolton team is a team that is progressing, getting better every single year. And I think with a better back four, probably would have got in the top 2 this season. So it's a season of what ifs, but it's certainly not over yet, and they've got plenty of time to potentially achieve their objective.
Absolutely, yeah. The next month is going to be massive, and basically we'll decide if it's a successful or an unsuccessful season, if I can say that word. It turns out I can't. Johnny, so how is it doing across the way in Yorkshire, mate?
So we've had some decent home form, but we've had some really crap away form. Doing well at home, apart from we've had a couple of losses there. But the away form has just been atrocious. Obviously, we're losing, drawing, then winning against Barnsley. And it just all went peak-tong in the 96 minutes. Who loves a 96-minute winner? So they drew against us there. We played Plymouth Tuesday gone. First half, we should have had a goal, but it got cleared offside. And then they scored. But in the first half, we were in my opinion, a bit rubbish. And then I think Graham Alexander in the second half kicked him up the arse. They came out a bit fighter, did a couple of subs. And yet Humphreys did 90% of the work with a 10% goal from Will Swan to equalise 1-1. But yeah, Saturday's going to be a tasty one.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. You just mentioned him then. Obviously, Graham Alexander has done a fantastic job from the outside looking in. Obviously, he got you promoted last season and has got you in the top 6, where I don't think any of the neutrals would have expected you to this season. There's been a lot of shouts about manager of the season when he gets to this point of the season. Obviously, I think most people go straight to Michael Scabala. Obviously, I think undoubtedly he's manager of the season. But there's a couple of shouts as well for, I would say, Alex Ravel and definitely Graham Alexander, which most of the years maybe you'd be sweeping up the award. How would you rate his time at Bradford so far?
So on my podcast last season, before we got promoted, after 6 games, I think we lost 6 games on bounce. I was fuming, I was a bit angry and I wanted him out. But then he grew on me, and obviously he got us to League One where we are now. He's a good manager, but sometimes he doesn't have a plan B. It's seen in other games where people are screaming, get subs on, and he doesn't do it. But I think he's learning from his mistakes. And obviously on Tuesday, he did a couple of substitutes and it did make the team better. So he's a good manager. And I think if we do go up this season, we need investment. And same again, if we still stay in League One, investment, get rid of the crap players and bring in some players who can actually play football.
Yeah, fair enough. I think we're in the exact same boat. I think I remember we were saying a couple of weeks ago that if we went up this season, how many of our current squad that we actually own, because most of our best players are loanees this season or right now, how many of the current squad do we see like kind of carrying on the championship and holding their own? And yeah, there wasn't many from memory. But we have got some Bradford fans in the chat. BC AFC Thean or the Ian 10. You can correct me, mate. He's put in the chat. How many of you come into Valley Parade? We sold out in about 20 minutes, I think it was, which meant I didn't get a ticket. I completely forgot they were coming on sale on a Thursday morning like an idiot. And then by the time I saw with their own sale, we'd sold out. So 2,700, I want to say. I think that's the allocation we got. But yeah, I won't be there, unfortunately. But yeah, maybe we'll be back there in the playoffs. We don't know. Maybe not, though, because we're 3rd and 4th currently. But yeah, we will see. In terms of, obviously, it's coming to the end of the season now. And shouts about sort of player of the season, most improved signing of the season, stuff like that. Johnny, if you had to give one player your player of the season award right now, who would it be?
Metcalf. We got him from Everton in the summer. And yeah, he started off a bit rough around the edges, but he's improved. And I think round of applause to our scouting network who brought him in. Rumours are in the summer he might be going to a championship team if we're not there. He's a really good player, ball winner, and he runs and he runs and he runs, and he never seems to get tired. But he's had a couple of not crappy games, but below par performances recently, but he has learnt from their mistakes and he's started to come good again.
Interesting one to look out for on Saturday, then, I reckon. Well, talking of Saturday, it is the preview, so we of course have got a preview from the stat man himself. So let's hear from him.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Get Stats On with the Statman, and today we're of course going to preview this absolutely massive game on Saturday afternoon against Bradford. This could easily be the deciding game for 3rd and 4th in the playoff spots, and I do not need to tell you how much of a difference that can make, but I do feel I could easily be doing this preview again in a couple of weeks. So let's move straight into it, shall we? Bradford go into this game off the back of 2 draws against Plymouth and Barnsley. And before that, a 1-0 loss against Stevenage, who, of course, you absolutely pummeled not too long ago. And if we're keeping score, that is advantage Bolton. This game will be taking place at Bradford's stadium, and their home record is absolutely brilliant, to be completely honest. In 22 games this season, they've picked up 49 points, which puts them second in the home table behind Lincoln. Advantage Bradford. However, that has been mainly to do with their defensive solidity. They've conceded just 16 goals at home all season, which is the joint second best in the division. But they've only scored 31 goals at home this season, ranking them in the bottom 10 for that metric. So that's a bit even, that one. I can't really say advantage Bradford or advantage Bolton. But it is safe to say this game is probably going to be decided by their defenders and your attackers. So let's have a look at their defenders, shall we? They play a back 5 of 3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs and 2 central midfielders sat just ahead of them. Curtis Tilt has been probably the pick of the bunch in central defence this season. Let's read off a couple of stats. 56 tackles, 156 ball recoveries, 204 clearances, 306 defensive contributions, 109 aerial duels won and 232 duels won. That has been quite some season for Mr. Curtis Tilt. And just ahead of him at left wing-back, we've got Ibu Toure, who, yes, of course, plays as that left wing back. So it's a bit higher up. His defensive stats are absolutely brilliant. I'm not going to bore you by reading them all out. But see, sometimes when he's on the ball, he likes to dribble down the line and put a cross into the box too. And you may notice I'm talking awfully fast, and that is because I've got quite a lot to say. Typically, Curtis Tilt and Ibu Toure play on the left side of defence, as you can hopefully see on the screen here from that 1-1 draw against Plymouth. Number 26 is Curtis Tilt and number 3 is Ibu Toure. On the right side, you've got Josh Neufville, probably said his name wrong, and Aidan Baldwin. Neufville, however you say his name, sounds like a Call of Duty map. He's played as the right wing back and he's got 7 assists and 3 goals this season, which sort of tells you he likes to play more advanced. And that's not to say he's not a good defender. He is still a good defender, but he does get forward quite often. And there is one key stat to back that up, because he's been dribbled past 14 times this season. That may not sound like quite a lot, but it is, I'm here to tell you. And that doesn't tell the full story either, because if he's high up the pitch, when the opposition get the ball, the winger may get the ball after Neufville has been bypassed. So what I'm trying to say is that the winger won't need to dribble past Neufville because he's already been and gone. So that does not tell the full story. And sometimes you feel Aidan Baldwin may end up going out to that side, and he's been dribbled past 11 times this season, which again doesn't sound like a lot, but it is quite a lot for a centre-back. So maybe Bolton should be basing their attacks down that right-hand side, or which would be Bolton's left-hand side. Now, not to say Bradford's right side will be poor, but as you can see on the screen, Neufville positions himself a lot higher, so there's going to be gaps there, and why not have a go? So this may be unpopular, but what I would do is I'd pick Max Conway at left back. And now he's not had the best second half of the season, has he? And he is only a youngster, so it's a big gamble. But that's what I'd be doing. So you'd be starting in this bit of a 4-4-2 shape. It is now really. Started as a bit of a 4-2-3-1 at start of the season, but it is more of a 4-4-2 now. And then when you look to attack, Cyrus Christie, it probably is going to be a right back, because obviously Tutu is obviously suspended. So he can move in alongside the two centre-backs, whoever they're going to be, and form a bit of a back three when you've got the ball. Sheehan and Rodriguez slightly ahead of them. Cozy Dewberry is going to pull out to the right-hand side, stay nice and wide. And then you've got Kenny and Dolby staying nice and close in the middle. And Gale is going to pull out wide to the left. Now, I usually say it's important to have someone in every zone of the pitch, which would be the right wing, the right half space, the centre, the left half space, and the left wing. However, we're going to change that today, because sometimes you have to be a bit unpredictable to win these type of games. So that's what we're going to do. Rather than Conway joining the attack and going into that left half space, he's going to go join Gale on the left wing. And yes, you've got two people there now. And what is that going to create? A bit of an overload. Because it's either going to be New Phil trying to defend against both of them, which is going to be a bit difficult because obviously he is a good defender, but defending against two people is difficult. Or, excuse me, Baldwin is going to have to come out of his centre-back position and go and join him to try and get that. And then you may get a situation where Kenny goes over too, which could create a bit of a 3 versus 1, 3 versus 2 maybe a 3v3 if a central midfielder joins in. Either way, you've got bodies over there, and many bodies over there. And what you want to try to do is if Gale sees an opportunity to dribble past New Phil or Baldwin and then stick across in the box, by all means, go for it. Clearly, it's a possibility. However, what I'd be doing is, yes, Kenny, you go on that side, you go join him, mate. And then, as soon as an opportunity arises, you play it back to either Rodriguez or Sheehan. And you may be thinking, Statman, why are you playing it backwards? They are going to turn quickly, switch the ball to Cozy Dewberry. Both of them have that pass in them, and I'm not having it that they don't. Quickly switch the ball over to Cozy Dewberry, and you'll notice he has only got one player to beat because everybody is shifted over to that right-hand side. He's either just got the wing-back or just the centre-back to beat. Can then put a cross into a box for Dolby, who's going to have one centre-back marking him, or get his own shot off. And yes, that is ideal situation, and you may not get many chances to do that. However, I guarantee, Statman guarantee for you, you'll get at least one chance to do that on Saturday. And if you do it right, goal. So, as I was saying before, so rudely cut off there. Clearly the Statman needs to needs to sort his storage out, doesn't he? Because that has happened too many times now. But anyway, as I was saying, if you do that right, that is almost a guaranteed goal. Simple as that, right? And yes, you may not get many chances to do it, but if you get one, you've got to take it. And these type of games, third against fourth, you've got to be taking those type of chances. Those type of chances will not come often. It's going to be a difficult game. But my God, is it going to be a good game. And with that, I'm going to leave it there for this preview. And I'm sure I'll see you very soon. Goodbye.
Great stuff, as always, from the Statman. You heard it there first. There we go, over the left-hand side. Switch out to Cozy Dewberry where he's on his own. He can dribble past whoever's there and stick one on the top corner. Yeah, it's great to have him back in it. Right, let's jump on to a bit of an injury update, I reckon.
Right, okay, everyone. My first goal in terms of giving a bit of an update. So, for Bolton, in terms of Xavier Simons is the potential returnee for Bolton, as him and Ethan Rahon, after taking each other out in training, both get close to full fitness. It looks like it might come a week too early for Aaron, but Xavier Simons is potentially coming back into the team as well. There was a fresh injury concern for Bolton that Stephen Schumacher chose not to name. So that's something that we potentially have to keep a lookout on the pitch for that game. Not really sure what that would be. A big miss of Bolton, I think, and this may be partly on the Statman's thinking of shifting over to the left-hand side, is the suspension of Jordi Osei-Tutu. I think that's going to be a big loss for Bolton, to be honest, because I think that a lot of our recent success has been the overload on the right-hand side of Dewberry and Tutu together has been a big thing. So I think that could be a bit more of a loss of Bolton than the Statman does a little bit. And other than that, more long-term injuries with Marcus Forss.
Perfect. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah, I don't know what happened with the mid rolls. Then for some reason, I got a black screen and an error message. So let me know in the chat if it came through or not. So yeah, if not, I'll have to message the IT and get them to sort that out. But if not, then I don't know. Just ignore me. But yeah, might be nice to see Simons back in the squad. We've been light in midfield recently, although Rodriguez and Sheen have done a great job in the last few games. Yeah, I'll say Tutu is going to be a bit of a miss. I think he's been. I think he had a bit of a bad patch before the last couple of games, but I think he's been one of our better players this season. And Christie's looked a little bit. I think. No offense to him, but age is catching up to a little bit over the last.
He struggles in those one-on-one instances, doesn't he?
He does,
I think he brings a good calmness on the ball. In possession, he's absolutely fine. And if we're under the cosh, it's not too bad. It's just that he can be exposed. I would be very shocked if that isn't where Bradford are looking to targets. It's certainly where Cardiff got a lot of.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a couple of times in the Cardiff game where he got put one-on-one against Willock and got done. And it should be interesting that. Johnny, how is it looking in the injury front over at Bradford?
So Bobby Poynton, I think, still out. Tariq Wright still out. Sarcevic is either going to play the Bolton game, the Exeter game, or both games. So it's 50-50 to either play for Bolton or Exeter. To see what happens there.
Well, hopefully, you don't tell him he's not playing. That doesn't go well for you. If you don't tell him he's not going to play against one of his former clubs, that was a bit of a bone of contention for him when he was playing for us, and he didn't get to play against Plymouth, wasn't it?
That was basically the end of his Bolton career, wasn't it? He started basically every game that season, and then got benched for one game, which happened to be against Plymouth, and it all went downhill from there.
I must admit, when I had a quick look beforehand at the injury news, and I saw, of course, Sarcevic is. Like he just couldn't help himself but be part of the talking beforehand, could he? Couldn't he? Yeah.
I know, yeah. Interestingly, it could be all four of his clubs in the playoffs if Plymouth sneak in. It could be all Stockport, Bradford, and Plymouth. So yeah, he'll love that, won't he? Basically playing against all these former clubs. But yeah, that is how we are looking injury wise. I think let's jump on to player swap. Before we do, Leslie has a good shout in the chat about the mystery injury. Shuey did, she's put, probably Dolby, he's been carrying an ankle injury lately. Shuey did let onto that last weekend, didn't he? I think after in the press conference saying about his couple of missed chances, saying you can just tell he was, I think after the third one, he was kind of limping a little bit with his ankle. I mean, he started and played 90 minutes basically every single game for the past 3 months until the last two where he's been subbed off. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's picked up a little knock, which would be a big one.
If that is the case, then for me, it's you don't play him.
Yeah.
There's far bigger games coming. I know this is a big game. Of course it is. But there's going to be a lot bigger games coming 2-3 weeks down the line. And if we can have him fully fit, it's far more important to us.
Yeah, the last thing you want now is to overplay him now and him get an injury and be out of the playoffs overall, really. Because, Burso's been good off the bench recently, but I think Dolby is just... He's been our best striker, hasn't he, over the last 3 or 4 months. Just gives you that something extra. Player swap time. Liam, I gave you a bit of homework to do before, so I will let you go first, mate. Who do you want?
Joyce, it's funny we're talking about Dolby with this, and it's not necessarily how we know this player, but I remember it's when he first caught my eye, and it's someone I know will be an unpopular choice with Bolton fans. But it's Stephen Humphreys. It's always been Stephen Humphreys. And I remember, and the reason I say as a number 9 target man is that's the first time I remember him at Southend in the year we went down from League One, when we were a hopeless team and we had our sort of minus points year. But I remember him playing up front for Southend in that year, and the way the ball stuck to him. As a Bolton fan, anytime I see a target man with a defender on his back that can move the ball on and then create, and I think he did score that day for Southend. I'm thinking from outside the box, maybe. But from then on, I've always wanted him to play for Bolton. Now, as it's turned out, he's probably become one of the most unpopular Bolton players, particularly for his time at Wigan and his absolute reveling in rubbing our noses in it when they were on their 10-year streak. But I can't help but look at him and go, he's the man I wish McAtee was. Like, I wish McAtee had that aura about him and had that effect on games the way that he does, because I think he could be that. But it's always been Stephen Humphries to me. He's someone I've always wanted to play for Bolton. It's probably not going to happen now with the way that his career has turned out. But yeah, I think he's a brilliant player.
Yeah, I must admit, I'd be impressed whenever we played against him. Obviously for Wigan as well. He's done pretty well. But yeah, you're right. I remember him back in Southend days as well, because they were a pretty hopeless team, but they had him up front basically leading their attack on his own, didn't they? But yeah, I thought I've been impressed with him, and he's had a decent season at Bradford. I have gone for a chuckle there from Johnny. Maybe he disagrees. I'm going to go for. I think I went for him last time. I think I'm going to go Josh Neufville or Neufville because I like a right back. I like a full back that has got end products, and as good as I think Geordie's been this season, and as good as I think, Max Conway has been in parts this season, I think we are missing that from full-back, a player that'll get, 4 goals, 5 assists, something like that, kind of add into your attack. I think Geordie's got, he's got a goal from when he was playing at left wing and a couple of assists maybe, and Conway's got maybe 2 assists. I would like a fullback that kind of contributes more to the attack a little bit more. As much as them two have been good this season, I'm gonna go for Josh Neufville. Obviously he's playing wing back. I can imagine he could slip in a right back and do a job. Johnny, who do you fancy from the Bolton squad?
So before I get to my player, I was giggling chuckling a bit because Humphries is a bit like Marmite.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did 9% of the work. Obviously, for Swan's goal, he did really well. But then on the other side of it, he was being called at Barnsley lazy, overweight. People in the crowd were saying it behind back of me. He's a good player when he wants to be a good player. Right. But sometimes he's a bit Marmite, and yeah, he needs to show it on the pitch.
Do you know what? That might be on the air because he absolutely hates us. So when you see when he's up for it, honestly, it's like watching Hulk when he was like in his pomp. Like he is so up for it whenever he plays against us. He's unplayable. So I'm seeing this player that whenever I watch him, I'm just like, we just can't handle him. I remember there was the 4-0 game that Wigan did at us. They were 3-0 up after about 15. Like it felt like 15 minutes, probably around half time, and we couldn't lay a glove on him. It was like a Premier League player level. Like he's always been like that. So I get it because the Marmite thing does stack up with what I've heard from him. I've got a couple of friends that were Bradford fans, and they say something similar. But whenever I see him, I'm just like, why can't you play for us? Like you just.
That's probably why he's always looked good against, because he's always been up for it. Whereas he probably isn't most other weeks. But Johnny, who do you fancy from Bolton?
I said him last time, winger.
Yeah.
Dewsbury. Not Dewsbury.
Cozy Dewberry. Yeah.
That's it. Good player.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, very. The player swap this season has basically been the guest comes on and says they want Cozy Dewberry every week, because why would you not want him? I'm not surprised. Right, it is prediction time. We've had a few in the chat already. We will run through them. It is prediction time. Let's see if this mid-roll works. Right. Can someone let me know in the chat if you did see that? Because on my end, nothing came through. But
you were good on my end. You were good on my end.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Brilliant. Right. Prediction time it is then. Johnny, as a guest, I will let you go first. What do you think is going to happen on Saturday?
Oh, obviously going to be a proper battle on that pitch on Saturday. Whoever wins is guaranteed, I think, a playoff spot. So I'm going to say Bradford City 3, Bolton 1.
Oof. Yeah, fair enough. Carrying on that strong home form. To be honest, I'm a little bit. I think Bradford will be more up for it than us because, as I said, them results on Tuesday night almost kind of confirmed our playoff spot. We just need a point in the last 2 games, and even then, as Liam you mentioned before we went on air, basically every other team has to win their 2 games to go above us. So I think playoffs will be kind of in the back of our minds, and I mean maybe even rest a few. I'm not too sure. I honestly wouldn't be against resting the likes of Cozy Debris or I don't know, Johnny Kenny, maybe some other players that might be a little bit, they played a lot recently. But as you say, Sam Dolby before, if he's carrying an injury. But maybe not. Maybe the thing of the mind is to get the job done first, go and then get a convincing win. But yeah, saying all that, I think, we equaled our season record of 17 draws the other night, and I think it might be another one. I'm gonna go for a fun one though. I think I'm gonna go for a 2-2. Liam.
So, the resting players is an interesting argument, I think. I wouldn't do it for this game, though, because ultimately I think we could put a lot to bed this game.
Yeah.
Then we could theoretically do a Sunderland, what they did last year, and almost fully take out our 11 for next week then, if we were to win. Because if we win tomorrow, it's 3rd or 4th, on Saturday. That's more or less in the bag then, with the home second leg. So there's a lot to play for, I think. The Derby one's interesting, though, because I think a lot of our success really, really rides on Sam Dalby's fitness. So that's really, it's almost ruined my weekend in advance, sort of seeing Leslie's comment there. What do I think? I struggle to see teams beating us when Cozy Debris is playing the way that he is. So for me, it's can we keep Bradford out? Because I think we score at least 2 with Debris in the form that he's in. I think he's come back on fire. So I think it finishes 2-2 because I don't think we keep him out with our back 4. So I think it'll finish 2-2, but I think it'll be a very good game. And I think, I think we'd be silly to rest too many players.
There's one question I've got want to ask you two, and also your millions of people watching your podcast and also streaming on other sites as well. Would you rather finish 3rd or 4th? Like with Bradford, I would personally like to finish 4th, and if Stockport stay where they are, I would like to play Stockport.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one because you're right. Stockport have been off it recently, and with their injury troubles and with them playing basically Saturday, Tuesday, because they've had games in hand, for the last, they played a lot more games than basically anyone else recently. It might not be a bad time to play them, but I think just in my head, I think if it's Stevenage who finishes 6th, we do have recent history of us absolutely battering him. But obviously that happened a couple of years ago with Oxford, who we beat 5-0 about 5 or 6 weeks before we lost them at Wembley. But yeah, I think judging from just what we've seen recently, I think I would rather Stevenage in 6th. But if Plymouth sneak in at 6th, not too sure because they've been one of the better teams in League One over the past 4 or 5 months, the second half of the season. So I don't know. You do make a good argument about Stockport because, as I said before, they've played loads more games recently than all of us, and they've got loads of injury issues. So yeah, Cal won at centre half. Maybe I would, but I think I would rather just finish 3rd and we get the worst team basically to play for. Liam, what do you think?
I love this question because it's classic overthinking that everybody does, don't they? Like, you don't want to overthink it, but you absolutely always overthink it, particularly when it's almost like the order like it is now. The problem with Stockport, as we were saying sort of before we came on, is I really, really don't like Stockport. So that makes me fear that game more. So I like it adds another level to that. That there becomes a local derby element to that playoff semi-final then, which, I think that'd be a nasty little set of fixtures for us, that. And their injury record now and their form now, we don't have a great record against Stockport either.
No, we don't.
I think they're the ones I don't want, and it's mainly because I'm sort of more the name than anything else. In terms of other teams that I fancy, when it comes to it, I'm a really neg bomb, so I fear everyone. It's a good job I don't play, really, because everyone I start thinking the reasons why they're going to pump us. But I think what I would want the most is probably Stevenage, just because of the most recent fixture, I just think we've got them sussed, and I just don't think they could know exactly what we're going to do with Corsi Debra. And I saw enough to know that they could play 12 players and not stop him, I don't think. So I think that's the one that I'd want. So I don't know about third or fourth, but just anyone except Bradford, Stockport, Plymouth, Luton, and maybe in the playoffs.
Yeah, I think also with Stevenage as well, because they're such a low scoring side. I remember looking back, they've only won 3 games all season by more than 1 goal. And I think 2 of them were home games against like teams near the bottom. I think the worst case scenario if you go away to Stevenage is you lose 1-0. And I think I would take that going into the second leg at home. Whereas I think with Stockport, they could turn up and beat you 2 or 3-0. I mean, they beat us 5-0 last year, didn't they? I think, yeah, if you catch them on a bad day, they've got some attacking players that can hurt you. Whereas, yeah, I think you're right. Stevenage, yeah, I can't see us going and getting battered first leg there. So we're always in play for the second leg. So yeah, that's sorted. Johnny, you can have Stockport. It seems like you want them, and we'll have Stevenage. So yeah, call it a draw on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll see you at Wembley.
Yeah, sorted.
Yeah, but you're at Wembley. I'll be coming on this podcast again and I'll gloat.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But yeah, thanks. Obviously, all the predictions in the chat. Obviously, Bradford fan has said 3-0 up to the Bantams, up the Chickens.
Can I ask actually, Johnny? Can I ask when did the up the Chickens start? Because I just sort of picked up on up the Chickens like 2-3 years ago, and I thought, have they always said that? Like, or is it kind of like a newish thing?
It's a new. So we're called the Bantams, obviously. Yeah. So my name up there, Chickens on the Loose, not Chickens on the Loo, but Chickens on the Loose normally causes a bit of tirade on social media because they want to call it like Bantams, like up the Bantams or whatever. But it started, I think, from possibly a season and a half ago with Sam Walker, goalkeeper, and he just said up the fucking Chickens on like a video thing, like on a match day thing, and it's just gone from there. It's like Pecked by the Chicken. That started off by a meme by a guy called Tom, and that's just he raised money for I think for the Burns unit as well on that for the 56, and just to remind people as well for Bolton and Bradford fans, it is the memorial game on Saturday, remembering the 56. So yep, like always remember the 56, and
of course
never forget the 56.
Absolutely, yeah. Glad you mentioned that. Yeah, to everyone going on Saturday, of course. I know we all will pay the utmost respect to the Bradford fans on Saturday, as we are remembering the 56. But yes, a couple more predictions. 109.63 went 2-2 as well as us. Liam, Rob has gone 3-2 Bolton. Kenny involved in all 3. He has been on fire recently. 4-4. Josh has gone for a 1-1. David's gone for a 2-2 as well. Jack has gone 2-1 City. Ian with a 1-1. Josh has changed his mind actually and said Bradford 2-1 Bolton for some reason.
Confident.
But yeah.
More U-turns in the British government there.
Changed his mind in about a minute there. Cheers, Josh. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching us tonight. It's been a pleasure. Cheers, Liam. Your second one's gone well.
Thank you. I think so. I was a little bit. I was more nervous than I thought, given the injury news. Like I'm just basically reading stuff that I've read, and I was like a shivering mess. I'm like, it's the live stuff. Usually I have the editor behind me when I've done my previous podcast. I'm just like, the live stuff's really throwing me. I'm gonna have to get used to it. Yeah,
it does, doesn't it? Nah, mate, you've done a great job. Johnny, thanks for joining us again. Give yourself a little plug.
Yeah, I'm Chickens on the Loose. I do a podcast every Monday at 6:00. So any Bolton fans do want to come along next Monday at 6, hopefully we'll beat you. So there'll be a lot of gloating going on. So Chickens on the Loose on all social sites, Chickens on the Loose podcast on all podcast services. And if you can, give us a like and follow on YouTube because I'm nearly at 1,000. And like always, up the fucking Chickens.
Not always. Stuff. The last 18 months, yeah?
I'm definitely not Saturday. Great stuff. Cheers, Johnny. Thanks for joining us. Yeah, check them out. Links will be in the description, all that good stuff. Go over and check them out. Any Bradford fans that are watching us from Johnny's stream, we will be live on Sunday night, 8 p.m. Reacting to the game on Saturday. So yeah,
I'll come and join you if we win. If we're not, meaning the net's down.
Great stuff. Right. Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you Sunday up the white.